Hey Jay, good to see you.
Hi, Finn. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Did you watch a little bit of what happened before?
Yeah, I've been watching since the
Yeah.
last 1.5 hours, so it's a bit like quite insightful even. I
Cool.
also watched Sebastian and Yasuna's
Yep.
intake on the next year the report. Yeah,
Good. Okay. It's great to have you with us. It's time for me to rest a little bit because you're gonna lead the calm session you're gonna have for the next 45 minutes. A lot of interesting people. I'm gonna get in. I saw Pukibara waiting in the backstage. I will let her or him enter the chat. But thanks a lot for the KGN community and you, Jay, to suggesting these chats. You've been very supportive for the past even 3 months. I'm not even sure it's been 3 months, but we already did a lot of things together. And I really appreciate your help on that. And again, as you have a very qualitative network of entrepreneurs and game studio you're looking with, I think it was a good idea to invite you and to lead a conversation on the takeaways of the report. So I'm going to be in the backstage. You're not going to see me, but shout out and ask me anything. If you want me to go into a specific slide, if you want that to be a conversation, I will stay here, but you won't see me. That's all.
got it, got it. No, it's happy to take the conversation. Yeah,
Okay. Let me bring Pukibara. And yeah, you command. You are the commander. So I'm going to hide myself, but you let me know if you need any help.
got it. Thank you.
See you later. Have fun.
Hi there, how are you?
Hi, G. Yeah, good to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, no worries. I've been like excited to have this conversation. I've seen you a social voice, and also I really value your intake on multiple aspects of the industry. So I thought like
Oh,
you would be the perfect person to bring in and have the conversation about how's 2025's Web3 market and the whole scenario, and what we can expect in the next upcoming months.
awesome. Yeah, thanks so much. Again, thanks for inviting me. I have been keeping a close eye on the Web3 and Web2, actually, gaming spaces. Not just because, right now we're launching our game, Barely Awesome, but I mean, I've been in Web3 for 7 years now. A lot has changed, although, in my opinion, not as much as it should. Uh,
Mhm.
I mean, obviously, everyone is just gearing for the, waiting for the holy grail of mass adoption. Just talking, okay, when are Web 2 people going to start? Entering Web 3 in droves, or like more. They're going to start becoming more open to Web 3 mechanics like tokens and NFTs and collectibles, and just the whole just Web 3 economy. And we're not seeing that happen at the pace that well Web 3 people would like it to. And obviously, there are some reasons for that. It doesn't help that there were a lot of scams, not and I'm not just talking like game specific, but crypto wide. It didn't help that there were a lot of scams, and people were just like weary of what's been going on. And like, obviously there's a lot of volatility. But if we just focus on gaming for now, because obviously this is a
Exactly.
gaming, yeah, specific AMA, and just like a space. I think that again, there were so many Web 3 games with a lot of potential, and then we just started seeing them fail one after the other. And I mean, personally, from what I've seen, I just feel like way too many Web 3 titles feel like financial products pretending to be games. So like, they start, players join to earn or farm or flip, but not to actually have fun. And if we take a step back, games are supposed to be fun. They're supposed to be fun to play, like whatever the game. Like, it can be survival horror, it can be RPG, it can be a platformer, it can be the multiplayer, single player, it doesn't matter. Just why do you play games? You play games to kill some time, have some fun with friends or alone, or just enjoy yourself. So the problem is really simple. Basically, gamers want great gameplay, they don't want token charts. investors, like they're the ones, VCs are the ones who immediately start asking you, what's your token, what are your tokenomics? But gamers want immersion. They don't want constant anxiety about floor prices, or like if someone is going to OTC something, and completely wreck the project, or crash the token price. And when fun comes secondary and tokens are the main event, like everything collapses the moment hype cools down, because like everyone is trying to hype up the project, especially in the months gearing up to beta, or afterwards, okay, this is the new product that we have. But then immediately that you have the novelty wear off, that's when everything starts falling apart. And obviously, because of, again, I understand that game developers are sort of like caught in a tough place between like a nail and a hammer, like a hard place and a hammer, and they're trying to appease everyone, but you can't do that, and that's unreasonable. So when they start chasing hype instead of building real gameplay, like a lot, like we see it with a lot of projects that start announcing NFTs before they even have a real prototype, or they over market unfinished ideas. Like a super interesting thing that I've been talking to a couple of marketers, and all of them say, okay, you have to start marketing the game months in advance. And whilst I understand that from a marketing perspective, does it make sense in the digital age where people's attention span is really short? And like, if I'm a gamer and I see a title that's that caught my attention, and I go and I visit the website, for example, or whatever, and I see that they're months away from launching, I don't necessarily think that I'm going to keep coming back, even if they post teasers or they try to constantly talk about what's coming. Okay, I think that, I mean, the projects that right now succeed, they build in the open. Like, so you ship fast, you ship something imperfect, and you start refining with the community that you've managed to engage, being primary drivers is part of that product. Okay, so like they give you constant feedback, and you refine based on their feedback. And there's no need, like, for example, to promise a quality with tiny teams and weak pipelines. And especially with indie developers, we know all of us are bootstrapping. We're running on a really tight budget. You're trying to make every cent count. So there's no need to, promise things that you can deliver. And obviously, again, with the VCs, it's another sore topic, because they're looking for very specific mechanics in order to get behind you. But we're seeing the other, we're seeing the reverse happen as well, like games or gaming studios that raise millions before they've nailed their core mechanics. And again, that sometimes plays a bad role, because you start overspending again on things that are not necessarily as important, like I said, like, for example, marketing. So you continue marketing and hyping a product that's not necessarily refined, and the results are pretty predictable. We have shallow gameplay, we have poor balance, we have weak progression, we have zero replay value. And it can be slightly argued that great games take months or years of design, iteration, and polish. But Web3, with focusing on hype and tokens, try to skip all of that and just immediately go to the point where, we're gonna have millions of players wanting to play our product. But will they? If you're not offering anything of value. So like, if Web3 gaming is going to become something sustainable and something that is going to attract Web2 gamers, I think that it has to start where traditional gaming already learned its hardest lesson: fun first, everything else is second. And that, in our space, that means crypto, that means NFTs, that means tokens, that means collectibles. So that's in a nutshell. So I really hope that in 2026, I mean, towards the end of 2025, I think that we saw a couple of trends specifically in Web3 emerging. And I think they're the right trends. So like we saw teams admitting mistakes, developing in the open, like I said, making players in the community a part of the whole development process. So I definitely think that that's doing things right, and returning to franchise core. So I really hope that in 2026 we're going to see more of that, and we're going to see the proximity chat and like the communication channels between developers and gaming studios and the community and players kept open, because those are like like the most efficient way to engage people. Also another trend that I've been particularly interested in is the friend swap. So that's really I actually think that pushed AAA out of the out of the main genres in 2025, and now we're seeing like low cost co-op titles take central stage. And I think there's a reason for that. Like for example, like Pudgy Penguins, oh my god, like Luca is a genius. He did everything right. So like first like you had the plushies, and you had the cute characters, and you had the NFTs, and now you have this really cool co-op game where people are just having fun, and it shows, right? What was it like? I think it was 2.5 million download. No, 2 million downloads. Was it 2.5 million pengus eliminated in the first weeks after Mythical launched it? And why are people playing it? Because it's fun. It's fun. So again, that's the built-in virality. It's just it's how how games are supposed to feel like. So I really think that we're going to be seeing more of that, and I hope that we're going to be seeing more of that. And basically, yeah, just taking gaming to its core, taking it back to its basics. Fun. That's what it's all about.
Exactly. So I think like I'm super excited and pumped for the next upcoming months, next year. Reason because I see this particular right time, the all tourists, like people who use the Web3 game as a speculative scheme to earn money are left. And right now, there is only like quality builders and people who wants to improve Web3 gaming and build a game that can improve Web3. That's the one of the core concepts that I'm looking for and I'm looking in a game. So
Yeah,
I
well, we
think
also what
these people.
happened. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
And well, we also what happened with Axie. I mean, that was good. And for a while, there were a lot of people making money actually, trading the Axies and playing it. So it can be done. It can absolutely be done. But again, as soon as the hack happened, and then things started, just dwindling, and now it can never go back to its former glory.
Exactly.
So again, it was they prioritized the wrong thing. Yes, can Web3 games be used to earn and to play to earn? Yeah, of course, but it shouldn't be the primary driver.
Exactly. That could be like, I think play to earn model is kind of dead right now, but it is really a good thing for to capture a certain set of cohort of people. So that should not be the priority. Like, priority should be create a fun game that people can engage no matter it's Web 2 or Web 3. And people can relate with, like in terms of stick with, I think that should be the priority of all the new builders. And I'm seeing a lot of good projects has been like doing this. And yeah.
Again, it's just like for gaming studios specifically, and for smaller ones that are looking for funding. And I know like we're one of them. It's a bit of a catch-22, because once you start approaching VCs and angel investors, and they're like the first thing they ask you about is, okay, so what's in it for me? And that's a valid point. Of course they're going to ask that. And it's always equity, token equity. Okay, but the moment you start talking tokens, and they're like, okay, what's the vesting period? And as soon as they hear something that's over 2 years, they lose interest. Yeah, but then again, do you wanna have a like a token model where you release the tokens too early, and they're able to start dumping, like like Smokey did with Berachain, like promising project, huge potential. He OTC'd, like what was the the amount, and then now it's joining the graveyard of blockchains of that that's already big enough, too big as it is. know.
Yeah. So yeah, I think people are start realizing it, and they are building a sustainable tokenomics like that can focus a lot on rewarding community in terms of upliftment of the ecosystem, and very less in terms of the investors and the team. Like I've been noticing like a lot of people are like reworking their tokenomics, at least changing the soft tokenomics rather than a hard like distribution of rewards and etc. So I think like even the existing games, the people who are building are like already on a path to build a sustainable tokenomics, like in terms of
Yeah.
not wasting their money a lot on rewards and in terms of like other speculative things. But older games, like I'm noticing it, like people are like willing to change. So I think that's a great step and a great realization. And once they see people, like more people start adopting and realizing, I think like that can be really great thing can happen in the Web3 gaming space.
Yeah, and it's really fun because I wasn't actually interested in any of this before I started working on my game. It was like first I got the idea, then I started developing it. It just, making into something worthwhile and hopefully something that other people are going to enjoy. And then I had to start learning all of this stuff, surrounding it. Like, okay, where are we at in terms of Web3 gaming? Where are we at in terms of Web2 gaming? What are investors looking for? What are players looking for? So that's been challenging, but fun in a challenging sort of way. Yeah.
Yep. So I say I've been noticing like a lot of independent studios are like really like making some high quality games and like it has like really good storylines. But
Hmm.
in terms of like I highly encourage these people to come and build on Web3. So I think like Web3 got its pros and cons, but one of the most important thing is like using a token. People who hold your token becomes your on-ground marketing people, and the community you're building is going to the priority is to have like a quality game, and the secondary is to do these kind of like integrating the Web3 part. So they become your like token holders, have some value of the token, also support the community, and they do the marketing themselves. So what do you think
You know,
about this? Like,
yeah, I completely agree. And also, speaking of that, I think that one layer that has to be looked at, and explored in more depth is adding more connections or like between the different web3 mechanics. And what I mean by that is, for example, NFTs. Okay, so you want people to care about collectibles in your game, so you can make the cute NFTs. You can, you can make them into something that's really visually appealing. But what is the value? Like, there has to be intrinsic value. So why not tie the NFTs to the token? For example, early adopters or people who purchase an NFT can maybe earn a small trickle of the token that you're going to release. So again, sort of like a passive income.
yep, yes, I think like in terms of same as like you said, everybody wants to know what's in it for them. So
Exactly.
like apart from the fun, there has to be some other things as well. So which, for
Exactly.
example, spending the time on it. So what I'm
Because
gonna
the
get
NFT,
out of it.
exactly, because the NFTs,
And also,
fully,
this
yeah,
NFTs and these kind of collectible things are not new to the gaming industry. The CS2 has been doing this for a very long time before the Web3 gaming itself like born.
exactly.
So
And they're not like they're only valuable when like when people attribute them value, or like we saw what happened to like with the ape, like with the ape board ape club. So like a couple of NFTs sold in the hundreds of thousands, and now they're worth what, like between 17 and 20,000. So the NFT itself is not valuable. It's only it's perceived value is what matters. It's like if people like thought, okay, this is a promising project and it's going to explode, I'm going to invest in it, and this NFT is going to hopefully appreciate in value. Okay, that's a good, that's great, it's very optimistic. But what if it doesn't happen? So what if we start, like, at this point, I think that if, again, and this is for the players benefit, we should start adding more utility to the NFTs.
oh yeah, exactly. So and also like if you have seen the BGA report, it got quite insightful things and a lot of interesting metrics. So I've been talking about this for the past 3 to 4 months with multiple people, and now I got some report with quantifiable numbers to show like, see, this is what I'm talking about. So what do you think about the stablecoin adoption? Like in terms of people are like stop using the speculative tokens because for example, like a couple of months ago, I was looking at an NFT in a game to buy. So it was 0.004 ETH at the time. It was
Yep.
somewhere around close to $5. And I got the same NFT a couple of months, like a couple of weeks ago for $4.8 something. So this clearly is a small issue with using tokens that the value is going to constantly keep on changing for time to time. So, but I think like the stablecoin adoption is really great in the gaming space right now. So, what do you think about like, is it going to make like a huge entrance in the next year,
Well,
or
stablecoin, yeah, that's a fair question. Well, stablecoins are going to be the ramp for Web2 users, coming onto Web3 because they do, they do come with more safety and transparency. So I totally get that. I mean, again, as a person who's been in crypto since 2012, again, I totally get it. The industry is more like it's more off-putting than we would want it to be, but I get it. I understand why. So it definitely stablecoin adoption is something that's going to happen before mass crypto adoption, but it also needs to happen, like and it's going to happen when users don't necessarily understand that they're using stablecoins. So like it has to be like like in the ease of use and the user friendliness of it all. I think it's going to be what attracts people. But I completely agree with you that we don't need like tens of thousands of different tokens. Like at some point it becomes just it's completely pointless and confusing to users. So tying stable coins, integrating them better into Web3 games will I definitely see it as beneficial to both users and the developers.
exactly? So, yeah, I think also like we are on the same path. I think like stablecoin adoption can bring in like a much more of a bigger audience from the Web2 space to Web3. And I think like utilizing stable coins will also save a lot of time and like save a lot of resources in terms of like you're spending a lot of time on creating a token in terms of amplifying like marketing,
Yeah.
especially when you are a Web3 game and the funds are like drying out. The lean fund, you're running a business, and a lot of
Also,
resources has
yeah,
been allocated towards speculative things like you say this
yeah, you're right. They do
marketing and in
they
terms
do
of etc.
remove
things.
Yeah, they do remove the speculative element out of the equation. And also another thing that can definitely not be overlooked is the fact that a lot of, brands like Coinbase, MetaMask, others already have the infrastructure, the custody, and the on-off ramps for their own platforms. And like that leaves a lot of options for integration for Web3 games. Like, and it's always better to partner with someone that's already like a household name in the space, and has the trust, has the transparency, and that obviously is going to, like, you're going to look good just by means of associating with them or integrating with them.
Yeah, exactly. So in terms of like Web3 industry, our industry is kind of like a fragmented, but if you put the pieces together, working and doing a like meaningful partnerships with others, you can actually save a lot of resources and build like a much more efficient ecosystem and a game altogether. So I think like in
Yeah,
terms of like people to like allocate resources properly and in terms of like partner with a right strategic partner can help a long way for the next year.
absolutely. Yeah.
And also another great thing I've noticed in the BGA report is the user acquisition. So user acquisition is one of the major hot topics in the industry. So what do you think about like a Web3 game user acquisition?
So for user acquisition, like I said, it's mainly like if we want more users, we need to give them what they want. So like and that's why I gave Pudgy Party as an example. So 3 wins, Game 3 awards, best casual game, best sports game, best mobile game. They had like what did I say? I think I said 2 million downloads or something like that. No, I think it was 500,000 downloads. 2 million penguins eliminated. I think it was the first week
Yeah.
since launch. So like that's a lot of people playing, a lot of people joining and having fun. But when we say user acquisition, I know in Web3 we're always referring to daily active wallets. So that's what we care about. We don't care about anything else. It's the wallet metrics.
Exactly.
But again, it's about ease of use. Like if I, as a person who's been in Web3 for such a long time, avoid bridging or just like using DeFi services as much as possible, like there's no tomorrow. Why would Web2 users do it? Like how would you get them? How would you convince them to do it? So again, it's just about making it to the point as easy to the point where they don't even realize they're using anything crypto or Web3 related, not blockchain. So like the blockchain layer has to be invisible, has to be completely invisible.
In terms of, I've heard, I think it's a really great thing to, especially you're onboarding a mass audience into Web3. You should hide the complex
Yeah.
Web3 stuff deep inside the tech. But
Yeah.
also, I've been like hearing from a lot of people about like if you hide the tech deep inside the game or and inside the whole thing, how do
Mhm.
you amplify the value proposition of Block 3? How do you create the
Well,
mass adoption of the Block 3 rather than
okay, yeah.
suppressing into it?
Oh, that's a good question. I love that. Okay, so again, let's just strip away the complexities and make it super simple. You just make Web3 seamless and fun. That means it's not just about play to earn. Again, because Web2 players don't necessarily care about that. It's about play to own. It's about
Mhm.
creating and about thriving. And when
Exactly.
I say thriving, I mean having fun together. So like the focus should be on, okay, you can play alone or you can play with your friends. You can co-create, you can be part of the creative process of making this game exist. The characters, the lore, the like even the gameplay, you can affect that. And if you want to, you can own what you create.
Yeah, I think in terms of like creators has been like heavily in terms of like encouraging in the last couple of months. So I'm seeing a lot of creators getting involved into multiple projects,
Mhm.
sharing quality stuffs, and especially right now in the era of AI, like their content making skills has been like drastically improved. And these people are sharing mind shares, and also there's platforms that's actually helping these guys to incentivize on their creation. And I've seen like multiple projects currently allocating special resources for the creators. So
Mhm.
what do you think about the creators in terms of in the Web3 era in upcoming, especially for the gaming?
I mean, I'm not going to say that I dislike AI because it is a super useful tool and we've seen it accelerate game development like never before. Like even if we just, for example, if we refer to Gonzilla's Web3 battle royale shooter Off the Grid, I think they began development in 2020, and they launched early access. I think it was in October 2024. So that was 4 years spent
Super
building
accelerated.
using Unreal Engine 5, but which again has native AI tools and features to enhance that development process. And I think I watched a video with one of the people on the development team. He said that if they hadn't had access to that, it would have taken even longer. And we're seeing traditional traditional gaming companies like Capcom also tapping into AI. Like they use Google's AI to generate and iterate on ideas for creating items and environments. And that again, they say that reduced time spent in pre and post production phases. So again, AI can be. I think it's like a it can be it's kind of like fire. You can use it to cook and it can burn your house down if used incorrectly. So like if you overuse it.
Exactly.
So I'm not a big fan of entirely AI generated content, and that extends to gaming. So that, I mean, like video, text, images, and obviously gaming. I think it should be used with caution, because one thing that AI lacks that humans have is creativity. So again, you should be
Yeah.
the driving creative force behind the project. But if you can use AI tools to refine it, to to fine tune it, to make it to ship it faster, by all means do it. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Yeah, but I think like this reminds me out of a recent discussion I had with a partner. So AI is like a ship and you are the captain. And the compass is the guidance that we need to educate to the people so that they can drive the ship safely and like have a happy journey. So in terms of like AI is creating like randomly accelerating the creation process. But
Mhm.
in terms of most important thing worried about is the IP and the copyright issues that's gonna come along with it. So in terms
That's a
of
good question.
yeah,
That's a good
we
point.
did a we did a lot of hackathons in the past quarter. So what I've seen is like people are taking the random IPs and copyrighted things, even like the popularly known Web3 IPs. But without the permission, they are making content and they just monetizing like it. But in terms of people are not thinking about to ask the permission, or in terms of like apply for like a request or something like that to even begin the process. So I think like that needs to be fixed in the upcoming months, especially.
Probably you're 100% right. I mean, again, I'm not that familiar with AI use in games, because when I started working on Barely Awesome, I just like I knew that I didn't want any AI, and it was just like a personal, it was a personal decision. Again, I'm not against it, so I wouldn't be the best person to know how the copyright issues, where they stand with AI use in your game. Like, who owns it? But that's an excellent question. See, now you got me thinking, who owns it? So I go to Midjourney or whatever, like type in my prompt, and generates a couple of cute characters that then I use in my game. But who's going to own those? Excellent. Huh. That's,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. And also like in terms of AI in gaming, I can think it goes a long way the next upcoming months because I'm noticing a lot of casual game creators. Like people can create casual games in fraction of a prompt, and then they can launch the game. I recently used the Remix platform. So within like less than 15 minutes, I created a game, a fun game, and I customized the whole thing, and then I published it. And I think like right now 10 to 12 people are playing the game. So these kind of things can be really great. And this actually brings out the creative juice in the people. And who knows, like a small prototype that you created with the AI can be the next triple that can come out
I
of the next.
just I just really hope that AI doesn't turn into the next .com bubble, because right now it's funny because again, especially when I started trying to pitch to VCs, to look for pre-seed funding for further game development. And interestingly, the number one reason I was turned down the most was that right now we're focusing on AI verticals. AI. They have AI. I'm like, no, we don't have AI. Okay, so like, but if everything is right now it's AI, isn't it getting saturated to the point where, I mean, just because it's AI doesn't mean that it's a viable business idea or a, model, or that it has value, and we're overlooking a lot of other things that might have potential just because right now everyone is focusing on AI.
I think in terms of AI is the current trend, and there will be always like a classic. Classic is gaming. I think like people should create gaming, and that classic is gonna not fade for the next 2, 3 decades in the long run. So I think like we initially discussed, building a quality product will be the should be the priority rather than like using what you're like whether you're using Unreal 5 or like whether you're using like AI to create it like in terms of like no matter what, if you create a fun experience with a pixelated version of like a small game or like just a tapper, it's like who cares? Like if it's fun, people might play. That's it. I think that's how I see it. And
Yeah,
yeah,
and obviously, like you said, if we add
but
the
also AI has an advantage. Like I said, like a person who don't know how to use the creation software and animation tools, but I've created a game. So AI has its own pros and cons. But in terms of too much fixated into AI, is bubble, bubble, or like a red flag, I say.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you. And also, like you said, like with the stable coins, again, that's going to introduce a layer of predictability and stability that I think would also serve as as a drawing point, especially for not just for Web 2, not just for Web 2 gamers, for Web 3 as well, because Web 2 gamers have been in the space long enough to see just how speculative it can get. Like, if you buy an NFT today for, like I said, for example, for 20k, it doesn't mean that it necessarily is going to cost that tomorrow. But if you buy it for $1 today, it's going to cost $1, and it's always going to cost $1 because it's in stable coins. So like you have
Exactly.
the that reliable payment rail.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, but in terms of like, I think like stable coin can be the next true element that can bring the mass adoption, and also in terms of like provide a proper value. And I think like it's going to help on retention to like what you said. Like I think in terms of UA and retention should be in the same path, but in terms of like the past experiences, like the past couple of years, like people are like looking at them in a completely different like completely different. They think those two are completely different. But UA
Yeah,
and retention should be the same. And retention is something like stablecoin can bring in the upcoming days.
absolutely. And like I said, like we really need to convince traditional gamers of the value in owning the assets that they play with, because ultimately you're always going to put in a lot of time and effort into beating a game or playing a game, whatever. And then once the game is, once you're finished, well, don't you want to have something to show for that? So I think that ownership is really going to be like one of the take home points that we really need to convince them in the value of.
Exactly. So yep, I think like
So like
we yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so
Go ahead, go ahead.
basically just gaming is changing, like, that much we can agree on. So like it's no longer like we
Exactly.
used to be. Like it used to be a very passive activity. You play the game, obviously you have nothing to do with it, you don't own it, you don't, like, and then you move on to the next one. But now we know with the onset of Web 3, so like we have user first, you have user driven, user generated. So we're going to be, so gamers are now basically active participants shaping the, like the very, like I said, lore, trajectory, gameplay of everything that they're involved in. And I think that, whilst some are already aware of the benefits of that, I think again we're going to see this become a much more collaborative process down the line. And I think that's going to be one of the biggest changes in, like in gaming in general. Just like having players become that much more involved in the game creation and development process. And again, again, to draw, like, to give a real world example without pointing fingers or like blaming anyone. But for example, you have a giant like Ubisoft, and then you had the whole debacle with the last installment in the Assassin's Creed saga. Like if they had collected user feedback while still developing the game, all of that could have been prevented. Like money down the drain, a big flop, they had the bad publicity. And again, this is not to shame them or point fingers, but ultimately these things in especially in this day and age, can be predicted, because people don't want uh games with agendas. Like, so we have plenty of agendas in our society. We're constantly bombarded with PC, whatever political content. Games should be fun. People just want to be entertained. That's why they're playing them. So when you make games political as well, obviously it's an immediate loss. But again, getting players or users involved early on in the process could have prevented all of this, from happening.
Exactly. That's a really great line, and I think like it answers a lot of question in terms of
Mhm.
like what's happening, and in terms of like how you want to look at the industry and all together. And also I remember like you said, like I think the most important part of the Web3 teams is like you are co-owning and you're part of the ecosystem. And that's something like I'm expecting in the next couple of months, like in terms of more indie studios should build a game and then utilize the Web3 tech to further amplify it. So
I hope so.
I think like that's something like BGA has been doing. Like our friend Fabian has been like encouraging multiple studios on blockchain adoption and creating the awareness of the Web3 tech. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I'm looking forward to the next couple of months and like terms of next year to see how it's going to pan out. Since it's like a very interesting time that we are all in together to witness the next big step in the Web3 gaming.
Yeah, me too. I'm also excited about it. And again, it's not just because, like I said, right now, we're launching and, we're trying to see what works and what doesn't, just navigating a very, complex and changing, landscape. But it's pretty exciting to be a part of it. And I mean, ultimately, it's super, inspiring to be able to contribute something, like you have an idea and then you watch it grow, you turn it into something, then people contribute feedback, they give you input, and then you're able to refine it and then see where it goes from there. So I think it's a really creative and collaborative process, and it's just super exciting to be a part of it.
Great. Hey, Fabian, nice to have you back.
Yeah, hey guys. Thanks a lot
Hey,
for the calm session. Really appreciate that. Thank you, Pukibara, for being with us. It's super interesting
yeah,
to get
thanks, happy
your
to.
no happy to have you. Congrats for the different milestone you have with the game. I
Oh,
definitely had
thank you. We're still, like there's still a lot of work to be done, but
for
getting
sure
there.
at the beginning of the journey for sure. Yeah, but it's good to see you kind of the conversation you had around the how the takeaways of the report actually are um, touching you and what you developing, like whether the usage of AI or community building or tokenizations as well. Like all the conversation you had was actually really interesting. So thank you both, Jay and Pukibara, for being with us for the last minutes, and really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Fabian,
Thank
for
you for having
inviting
us.
us, and it
No
was
worries.
great.
Wishing you a very good day, very good. I don't know. Again, I don't know if we should say that in Web3, but I will dare saying very good holidays. I guess you are still a few days, but yeah, very good holidays for you. Holiday season is coming very soon, and I wish you a very good end of the year. Fresh to start the 2026, which should be the best ones we could get in blockchain gaming, as every speaker we had for now said. So let's see. Thanks again, Shay and Pukibara.
Thanks.
Thank
Bye.
you. Have a great day. Bye bye.
Bye.